Throughout my early years of gaming, one of the things I most enjoyed were game magazines. Be it GamePro, EGM, Nintendo Power, or Game Informer, these magazines let me know about upcoming games, new consoles, accessories, but most importantly, they reviewed and scored video games. The medium has shifted into gaming websites and podcasts, but the process is very similar. Game critics receive the games early, sometimes a month in advance, and other times, unfortunately, a week before. The different outlets will assign the game to a staffer or freelancer who will play the game to completion and assign a score. The score is published alongside an article explaining the basics of the game, the good, the bad, etc. Some websites, like Vice's Waypoint or Vox's Polygon, review games very thoughtfully but do not assign a score. I think this is a very modern take that focuses more on the reviewer's experience and values their words over a numerical value. That said, scoring games is fun. I should mention there are websites like Metacritic that pull together critics and audience scores to give a rough average. Recently, an indie game, Kena Bridge of Spirits, released. This is Ember Labs' first game, a team that previously worked on visual effects and CGI animation. This is the studio's first game. A lot of people associate the word indie with games going for a retro 8-bit, 16-bit, or low-poly aesthetic. Neither of these describes Kena. I've heard people asking critics not to be as harsh on Kena or to take the team's size into consideration. I do not agree with this at all. What Kena is trying to accomplish with a 2 million or maybe even less budget is not the same thing Call of Duty Vanguard or Grand Theft Auto 5 is trying to accomplish with a $500 million budget. Nevertheless, we rate games the same way. On GameSpot and IGN, it's a 10-point scale. Game Informer uses a 40-point scale, which is bonkers to me. And some sites like Giant Bomb use a 5-star rating where a 4 out of 5 great game would average out to an 8 out of 10 on Metacritic. That's only one of the reasons why I don't trust Metacritic. I struggle with how the industry takes numbers to heart. These are all opinions and everything is relative, nothing definitive. The critically acclaimed game God of War 2018 is only a 9 out of 10 for me.
My bow!
No! You are not ready! Stay back!
Draugr. They've never come this close to our woods before.
Keep moving.
While the 3D exploration adventure game A Short Hike is a 10 out of 10 in my book. These two games couldn't be more different from each other. Visually and mechanically, God of War is leagues beyond a short hike, not to mention the budget. God of War is not a great game, it is an excellent game that exceeds at already established gaming verbs, and I've done them all elsewhere, but it successfully modernized storytelling in an open world game via the introduction of a bard-like character who always sticks around. We all love Mimir.
Mimir, what can you tell me about that giant lady with the bow?
She was called Skadi, Queen of the Hunt. Her father was Thiotzi, who could take the shape of any wild creature, and taught Skadi how to hunt them all. From the ribs of pack beasts, she fashioned second feet, allowing her to glide upon the snow so no animal could evade her. She became a huntress beyond compare, even to any god. Odin himself wanted her for his bride, believing she would bear him strong sons. But she spurned his affections, and for that insult, Odin vowed revenge. It was put forth that the Aesir were plagued by an eagle who would steal the precious golden apples of Idun. Not even the finest archer among the gods could bring it down. Odin knew that Skadi could not resist the temptation to prove herself superior, and so she joined the hunt. Skadi tracked the eagle as it flew where she alone could glide, and loosed an arrow from her unerring bow. When she collected her quarry, she found no eagle at all, but her own father, poor Thiotzi, slain by his own daughter. She was overcome with grief and shame, for there is nothing nature so reviles as a child who kills their parent. Skadi succumbed to her fate as winter's blanket fell, holding her father as the mountain held her in an embrace to last eternity.
Well, that was sad.
Aye. There aren't many happy endings for the giants, I'm afraid.
I'm not here to argue which game is better, God of War or A Short Hike, but the last one was more special to me. The dialogue is very clever, the look reminds me of Nintendo DS games trying to do 3D. The verticality and the freedom makes me feel like I'm an adventure. It's how my imagination would interpret black and white Game Boy games. The length of the game is short enough to play in one sitting. It's the most digestible but enjoyable and satisfying game I've played in recent memory. Reviewers should not shy away from looking at a game for what it is, what it tried to accomplish, and the experience it was able to give you. Don't hold yourself back from being harsh on it because it was a small team with a low budget. That is insulting to the people who worked hard on their games. Kina getting an 8 and God of War receiving a 7.5 at some outlets doesn't mean one is better than the other. I hope more of the Twitter and Reddit discords understands this and treats games for what they are.